Hi guys, on to a new episode here. We're taking a little break from the R6 to focus on a little Ducati that I've got here. I've got to do some bits and pieces to her. Been off the road for a little while, got to do the cam belt, got to do fork seals, both of which I'm going to do in a video. It is a friend of mine's bike, so yeah, we're just doing it for him as a little jobby job to get done for him. So in this video we're going to be doing the cam belt. I'm going to say now that it's going to be a how-to if you follow along how and what I do, because I've never done one before. I know I can do one, I'm a very experienced mechanic, but I've never personally done a timing belt on a Ducati. I've had a quick look and it's easily doable, so this is going to be my first time doing it, and I'm just going to take you along for the journey. So it is sort of a how-to, but if there's any special ways of doing something, I'll be discovering it along the way. I won't know it as it comes to it. So that's that. So enough about that. Let's have a little look at the bike. It's a 999S by Poster, by whatever. It's not a genuine feeler, unfortunately, but it is very nice. It sounds beautiful. I would start it for you now, but I started it yesterday. Didn't have any fuel in the tank whatsoever, so it was cranking over. Eventually battery wore down, which is a brand new battery I've just put in there, so I charged it back up, and then cranking, and I was like, well, it's just not firing. What gives? Oh, maybe the fuel was old and stale. Yeah, and I'm gonna go through what I've just been through with it. Sorry, the white R6 that I've just had in, and then had a look in the tank, and bone dry, absolutely bone dry. So oh, that's odd. So when I got some fuel, put some fuel in it, started it up, it was running, sweet, lovely. As soon as I turned it off, I noticed fuel not just leaking, it was gushing out of here, all the way down here. I had to push her outside quickly. In my haste of pushing her outside, I accidentally leant on the screen. My friend does know about this. I did confess to him that I broke his screen, so I owe him a new screen, which I've got one on the way already, by the way, so that's all good. And yeah, so the fuel just basically pissed out of. Let me get my torch, I'll show you. Basically here, it's just like running off that bolt there, and at first I thought, because this hose is a bit pinched up like that, I thought it might be to do with that, but on further inspection I don't think it is. It's more like the seal in the bottom of there has gone, has perished or something like that. It was leaking like it had no seal in it. So what we've got to do, I wonder if this works. Down here, might be a bit dark. I've noticed my videos are a bit dark. I do need to get another light. They're only cheap, but it's just getting one sorted out. I've got a lot going on at the moment, so right. Yeah, so I've got to basically remove this side fairing, and we'll start to dig into it and see what's what and what's hot and what's cooking. The other side is already off already, but there is a bolt underneath. But to get this off, it just comes off in one big bit. It's just a couple of bolts here, one bolt at the front, one down here, and it just pop, off it comes. So I'll get that done and then I'll pop you back on. Right, so here we are, more comfy on my little stallage, and here we are. Now, looks like we have a bit of a frame in the way, which obviously we can't do anything about. But it looks pretty accessible, to be honest. Looks pretty easy. Famous last words. What a dickhead. Why did I say that? Oh God. I think I've just cursed myself from the start now. Yeah. Apologise for the lighting. I'll tell you what, I've obviously quickly established I've got to get the tank off anyway because it's leaking like mad, but it's probably easier and nicer to get the tank and stuff off. I know this lot, the seat and this cowling comes off all in one lump, and then it's just a tank. So I think we might do that actually, and then what I'll do is I'll get it shoved all the way over. I don't like shoving them over on this stand. It's one of these dodgy. I don't like these stands, you know. I like the ones with the bobbins, but this hasn't got bobbins and nowhere to put them, so you'll notice that this is loose. That's because recently the brake got cooked when it was last on the road, and it cooked the sensor as well. So I'm replacing that. I just had it out to inspect it. So that is that. Let's get to it, shall we? Right, okay. Key. It goes in here. Now, I think it's just those two bolts there, and then we got one under here, there, each side. Who hates cheap Chinese aluminium crappy bolts? I do. Look, I mean, it's not far off of coming off, but before I got it off, I suddenly thought to myself, oh, I'm going to show you guys what I've been struggling with for the past 5 minutes. Discovered, I've worked on this bike before, but I've just completely forgotten how it all comes apart. I discovered that the tail piece is actually sort of bolted to the tank as well. If I start to lift this, it lifts the whole lot. You'll probably see in the little time-lapsey thing that I've done. So I'm just taking off this. I'm pretty sure there's nothing underneath. I think it just slides in, but I'm just taking it off anyway. And one of the bolts was a little bit of a faff to get out, and then the other one has decided to just keep spinning. So I'm about to drill the head off. But, you know, this is carbon fibre. This is an expensive tank. Why has this shit happened to me? There we go. Whew. There's a bit of damage there by the bolt that's been, like, you know, used to like do it up and pull it down, but I actually haven't managed to damage it myself. I just got to get the rest of the thread out of there, but I'm going to do that when the tank's off. So that's not a problem, that's stuffed out. A little bit off topic, guys. Just reminded me as I was drilling that out. If you want some decent drill bits that cut like a hot knife through butter, search this brand. It's Goering. I mean, I'm not going to be able to focus on it. My camera skills are nowhere near as good. But I'll spell it out. It's Guehring, right? I think you can see that under the light. That's just not going to get it. But anyway, these are amazing. I mean, as long as you can obviously drill right. But even these are still pretty forgiving. I mean, these just stay sharp. I've got a whole load of them in here. And they're not mega expensive. And they're beautiful as well. Absolutely beautiful. I mean, look at that. You know? Alright. You get your old big ones. Alright, they're just, they're stunning drill bits. They're not mega expensive, and they just cut and cut and cut and cut. And they do blunting obviously, but they keep going a lot longer than you expect them to. And I'm not just drilling aluminium, I drill a lot of steel, I drill a lot of studs, you know, like snapped exhaust studs out of heads and stuff. And these are amazing, so just thought I'd share that. So if you ever need some decent drill bits, Goering, or whatever they are. Right, so that little bit's off. Got some breather hoses here I need to disconnect, and then this whole lot should lift off, so gonna get to that now. Here's one. I don't want to get anywhere near the tank in any way, because it is freshly painted. I mean, not fresh, but it was done like last time the bike was on the road properly. It's a couple of years ago, but it's done pretty much no miles since, so it's fresh. Now this should all lift off, as you can see. Come on. Come on. Yeah, it's coming. There we go. It's still attached obviously at the fuel lines and stuff. There's the plug. Oh, okay, yeah, so they're stuck pretty good. You ever get a pipe like that that's just stuck, won't break the seal? You get a pair of pliers and just grab hold of it, just put a little bit of pressure on, just a tiny little bit of pressure, just to kind of grip the pipe and work it backwards and forwards. You can normally break the seal loose, and that's just what I had to do there. The only thing was, it was a bit of faff, and I had to come around this side to do it, so it's just easier just to pause you for a second. So now, all this will come off, just like so. And I need to open this up. I need to put this somewhere safe first. It's going to go in the middle of my carpeted floor at the moment, but yeah, we need to. It's completely empty, completely bone dry. Right, okay, here we are. We have one naked machine. Comes apart so easy, like. The fairings are literally just 4 bolts each side, and they slide off, and then it's 6 bolts to the tail piece, and then the whole lot slides off. That thing I drilled out, I didn't even need to. The tank slots into these things. You can see there's some fresh paint in there. Look. See, I told you it's fresh paint. The paint has come off on from the post. Yeah. So yeah. Obviously our top cylinder where we've got a spark plug, I won't need to change the plugs because I changed them last time and it's done literally no miles. I've done a full service on it last time. We are changing the oil and filter again in this, so but yeah, there's my torch. give you some light. There we have it. So I think our next port of call, which will be tomorrow now, so I'm going to get this pushed back over the way. I'm going to not film that because, you know, it's just me moving a bike and it's awkward and da da da. So it's going to be covers off and horn off first, obviously. Take a cover off. I think that's pretty much it. I mean, we might have to remove this pipe here. That looks like it's a little bit in the way, as you can see. But all in all, I can't really see much of an issue. So, on with tomorrow. Right, so here we are, next evening. Well, it's actually 2 days later, but never mind. Here we have our project for the evening. Cambelts, also going to do an oil change. I've set up a little system here because I've noticed in the videos that, you know, it is pretty dark, so I'll try to shed a bit more light on the situation. I might need to play around with it a little bit just so there's no glare and things, but here we go. I think the first job of the evening is, you know, take the horn off and these covers. This pipe might get in the way, as mentioned before, so I might just whip that off or out the way at least, and then see where we're at with that. Also got to do the oil and filter, so I'll be doing that in this video. So I think without any further ado, we should get on with it. Right, so it's taken me a while to get you set up best possible way. Might be a little bit awkward for me, but I want it to, you know, be able to be seen on camera, so I've worked around more difficult things, so should be alright. Yeah, I'm just going to remove that just to get it out of the way. Looks like the seals not come with it. Right, okay, so we can leave that there for a minute. I just know this pipe's going to be in the way, so I'm going to start with this first. Looks like a breather pipe, crankcase breather. So we'll just pop that off. I'm trying not to do too many of the crappy little time-lapse things I do in this video. Mainly because, well, they're not very good, are they? So, and this is, I'm going to try and turn this into a bit of a how-to, you know, as in like what I would have done. So we can work this out of here. This will come free. There we go. It's just being a bit awkward. I would take it off there, but that's why one of them use once only clips, I think. Oh no, it's one of them flick it off jobbies, so I can completely remove that. When I first looked at it, I thought it was the you know, use once crimp on deal. There we go. That's that popped off, so I can squeeze that out of the way. There we go. I'm going to go for the horn next. Get that out of the way. Oh, that's noisy, isn't it? Sorry. Earphone warning. Bit late, but right, so tuck them up out the way for now. Undoing it just, you know, saves on it dangling around and getting in the way, doesn't it? So it looks like these have to come off, which are clearly 13s. So let's get to loosening these off. I'm going to loosen them off by hand because they go into the head and the engine block. So you don't want to be gunning them straight off for them to just snap, right? Because it's going to cause you a headache and a half. So it's just easier if you just crack them all off first. Because as well, an impact gun, with how tight these are, with an impact gun, they might well strip the head out and then you're double fucked as well. Some of them look a bit iffy. I'll do that one. Nope. I think I've done that one, didn't I? Yeah. Oh, there's one under there. I'm pretty sure I didn't do. Right, so they're all cracked off. I'll get 13mm for that. There. It's weird using a 13mm on a bike. Normally it's all Japs, so it's all 12 and 14. Because the Japs are that superstitious, they won't use 13s on their vehicles. True fact. It's all 12s and 14s. Yeah, that obviously comes out of there. Right. I'm going to put the 4mm on the little buzz gun. Whip off these covers. I'll start with this one because obviously it clearly comes off the easiest. Oh yeah, don't you love it? Oh yeah. So I see 2 timing marks. And imagine by the way they're positioned, they either line up with each other or with this. I will look it up obviously, but they either line up with each other or they line up with this gasket here. So let's get the other covers off. These are normal bolts, so if you do have any issues or trouble, well, I say normal, they're a fairly funny head, but they're a normal thread and they're not a bolt that like stays as part of the cover or anything. So if you do have any troubles with one or you strip one out or anything, it'd be pretty easy to replace it with just something else. Normal cap head. Be a 5mm at that point. 5mm, not these are 4mm. Right. Oh, I was thinking that'd be the first issue, not being able to get that out. So now we just remove this bottom one to reveal the bottom pulley, I'd imagine. One under there. Ooh. Right, so what do we have here? I mean, the belts aren't in bad shape, but there's no history of them being done, so that's why I wanted them done. Now, this is the primary belt on this head, so this one's going to come off first. We do have a marker there, so we've got to find out where that lines up with. It's a funny nut. It's like a special like ring nut type of thing, so turning that might be fun. Might Might have to end up taking the plugs out and putting it in gear to turn it, you know. That's odd. Right, I shall look up where the timing marks are. Be back. Right, okay guys, I found out the way to do it pretty easily. It's a bit of a faff, if I'm going to be honest with you. It's very nearly in time now. What I've got to show you, I had more trouble trying to find something to turn the engine with. In the end I've had to take the spark plugs out. They're out now and it's in gear, so all I've got to do is knock the wheel round, and I'll show you that in a sec. But here, the timing mark is on the case there. I don't know if you can see that, yeah. And then you've got your dot here, so it's just about to line up because it turns this way around. And so it's just about to line up. So like I say, as I've got the bike in gear and with the spark plugs out, so there's no compression, if I just donk on this wheel round, it knocks this round. So if I just donk on the wheel, right, you can see it slowly moving it round. And as we're coming up closer, you're just doing it tiny little bits at a time. Alright, and it's just lining that up now. Now, what you'll notice is, and this would have confused the hell out of me if I didn't bother looking this up, although I have just noticed something odd about the information that I read that hasn't been mentioned, but I'll get to that in a sec. Now, that's now in line for TDC. I could even check that if I wanted, because I've got the spark plugs out, so I could put a screwdriver or a rod down the bore and make sure the piston is actually at TDC. But the timing marks here and here. Now, according to the information Ducati, the marks are on the belt, so I'd either have to turn this over for ages and ages and ages until this belt miraculously, old markings lined up, if they're even still there, because I think this is an original belt. But what was mentioned was these sort of keyway marks, T-shaped things, are in line with the head. So yeah, I mean, if I had something thin enough, we could probably lock them in, and there probably is a tool that goes in there. But we're not going to use any special tools or anything, just to prove that, you know, this can be done by any semi-competent mechanic with basic tools, or even, you know, even like a hobby mechanic in your own bike or something like that. So what we are going to do is we're going to make our own marks. So I'm going to do my own marks here with the case. So I'm going to put a mark right there and one right there, right, just on each one, and the ones up here. And what I have noticed that wasn't mentioned in the thing before that I read about is that those T-piece, T-shaped things didn't mention that they were off center on this bank. So but I think what we're going to do is I'm just going to, between pauses, I'm just going to check that it is actually at TDC. Right, so what I've done is I've put a, hang on, I'm going to have to get a bit sideways, small mark there, pin punch mark, and there as well, pin punch mark, and same with these two. Now let me explain something very quickly, because I might get some comments going, oh, you can't hit the pulleys, blah 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 blah. The reason I don't use paint is because paint can easily be rubbed off, right? Some pulleys move as soon as you let the tension off, they go twang. So I'm not risking that, because what happens when even with Tipex, it'll just flake off when it's dry or something like that, you know, so it's no good. You're never going to lose this pinpoint, right? Now, all you need is a very sharp point on a chisel, obviously, or pin punch, right? And the smallest of dink taps, you'll get a mark there. So that isn't pinched up, it isn't damaged, it isn't caused any problems at all. It is literally a timing mark. It's exactly the same as that. If anything, the machine that punched that official timing mark there would probably hit that pulley a lot harder. Okay, yeah, being just a pulley, but it would have punched down on that a lot harder. And if it was to deform teeth or anything, it would do then. So it's safe to do this. Now we're going to get to taking this off. So we've got a 13mm by the looks of it here, and that releases tension. So we're going to do that on both belts, see what moves, and get on with replacing the belts. So I'm going to go grab me a spanner. That's 13mm Swanee. Oh, it's a 12. It's actually a 12. Okay. A 12mm Swanee. Just very gently. Cool, that's tight. So obviously a very high tensile stud then. There we go. Now, did anything move? Nope. Gonna get on this one now. Maybe the swan neck wasn't such a good idea, but we're alright. It done it. Kind of half expecting this one to move, because I don't know whether, you know, it's actually like proper in time or not, because the information that I read didn't mention anything about this bank, so I assumed it'd be the same. You know what they say about assumption. Alright, so nothing has moved, which is a good sign. Now, can we lip that over there? No, we can't. So I'd imagine the whole, we'll probably take this one off actually, because that'll be just a stud, just a bolt, so it'll be easy to put it back on. I imagine it's quite tight, so I'll get my big ratchet. One of them. Well, I can't get to that one, so it's going to have to be the tensioner on that one. So we'll remove this. Spin that out of there. Oh no, it's on a stud, so it might be a little bit more difficult. Yeah, just we'll slide the belt off with everything, I think. There we go. Pulleys still feel nice and sweet. That's just play on that shaft because it's just loose. There's no actual play in that. Yeah, they feel smooth and quiet, which is good. I'm just going to loosely put that nut back on there, on this bung type. That's a coarse thread. That is a really coarse thread. Wow. Alright, so they're just in there loose for now, so we don't lose them. Now we'll get on with this top one. Just removing this. Ow. Now, with that off, and just walk the belt off. The tensioner will come with as much as it needs to. Did just hear a washer drop then. Or did I? I should double check with my torch. Oh, this one's just popped straight off. Look. There we go. Right. Oh, see, as soon as I took this off, it's moved. And that's what I was talking about. Slide that out from there. And look how much slot these, look. So, you know, you need to be able to know where the bloody mark was. It's there. Right, and it moved this way, so this is going to need to come back. So, there you go. Just be mindful of that. Right, so let's get the new belts. Right, so here we are. We have got, this is where I got it from, Ducati.tech. Yeah, I just basically googled, because the genuine belts are like 200 odd quid just for the belts. Now these are Cycle Works, and they're recommended on all sorts of Ducati forums and stuff like that as being as good as OEM. So that's good enough for me. Also comes with 2 new lock nuts and spring washers for the tensioner, which is cool. So if you need a cam belt, check them out. Right, so it's this first top bank first, and this is the one that moved. So yeah, both these belts are identical in size, so we don't need to worry about which one goes where. Now, best rule of thumb, I was always taught as a young and enthusiastic mechanic, sometimes a cam belt has a direction arrow, and in some cases not. Now, it's generally good practice to have the lettering facing, so you can, and numbers obviously, so you can read it from this side of the engine. So like if you're in a car, for example, in an old car it would be typically rear wheel drive, the cam belt area would be facing you, so as you look down on it, it should be like this. So that's the way I've always done it. Whether it makes a difference or not when it doesn't have a specific rotation, I don't know, but it's just general good practice, I guess. Part of pride of your work and all that sort of jazz. So we shall get these in here. Oh, and let's just check this other one. There is no timing marks on these belts, so you'd have been a bit screwed if you were relying on the belts to use the timing marks, wouldn't you? So squeeze this through here first. In you go. There we go. And put it up round the idler. Right. Now you want to, general rule of thumb when doing a cam belt, is the side that hasn't got the tensioner on is the side you want to try and keep taut. So all the slack is in this side, the tensioner side, so that when the tensioner actually goes to do its job, it takes all the slack out of the belt and doesn't move all the pulleys and what have you. So now I've got to set that timing mark where it needs to be. Now it will be slightly off, but you've got to put it sort of slightly back a bit, anti-clockwise in this case, because when the belt tightens and takes up this bit of slack, it will pull it up and round a little bit. Plus also, if you put it too far up, it's way out. You can see it quite easily. So with that, try and keep the tension on it. Now we want to, it's quite difficult to do this with all these cameras and lights in the way, but I shall try. Where's my timing mark? There it is. So I might need to get a tool just to help me turn that. Yeah, I'm going to get a lever bar stick in there to help me turn that. Oh, I nearly missed my stool then. Right. Oh, it's not going to work because it's too wide. I'm just going to find a narrower one. This might be too narrow. It'll work. It's not great. If not, I might have to find a big chisel that'll fit in there. Right. So let's just make sure this belt is on properly again, because I've had to take the tension back off of it from letting go of it. Right. So that is fully hooked in the bottom. Just pop it over. Just double check they're all in line as you do it. Walk the belt on. It's just all about taking your time, you know, and just remembering where the marks are. And as long as you've got good solid marks, I mean, the best thing to do is just take pictures, do your marks and take pictures, and you can't really go wrong. Now with this tensioner, as you can see, it's cam, holes off centre, so if you sort of get it to its thinnest part and work it on, let's see how well this goes, because I think you have to walk the, well, this one come off really easy, but the other one I had to walk off with the belt, so we shall see. Try and get that lip the other side of the belt. I don't know if it's going to work out. Look at the hole. Yeah, it's going to work out. Just a little wiggle pop. There we go. Wiggle pop. Now we just want to check our timing marks again. You just want to check them every so often. Just make sure they're the same. Alright. Which they are. All the slack is on this side. So then, we want to get our new washer and nut. I've got to look for a dropped washer, haven't I? I'll do that in a sec when I next turn the camera off. It's not anywhere important because I can see a lot more than you lot can. A lot more detail, and it's definitely not in there anywhere where it's going to get chewed up. Oh, there it is. Right behind the sensor. Right, that's out of there, so we're safe. So that's the old bolt. I can go with the nut. I can go with the old Cambelts. So it's just a repeat procedure for the other side. I'm going to make this video a little bit shorter by not filming that side. I'm just going to chuck this side on now. But it's exactly the same, if not a bit easier, because you haven't got the frame in the way. And then we'll be in for tensioning them up, and I'll show you how. Right, okay, best make this quick because the battery on the old Cambelts is dying a bit. Where is my tool? There it is, not that one. What else do I need? 12mm. Use the ratchet, it's easier. Right, so as you can see in the little bit that I've just done there previous, all the timing marks are in line. I have already tensioned this belt, and then so I'm going to show you how to do it on this one. It's fairly simple. It's actually a 27mm, so if you've got a 27mm spanner then it'd be a lot easier, but I don't, embarrassingly. So yeah, that's that. General rule of thumb with these, you want to do them clockwise, right? Because as you tighten the nut, it tensions it that little bit more. Well, it doesn't, but yeah. General rule of thumb, unless there's a specific arrow on a tensioner, it's clockwise you want to go. Alright, so all you want to do is put a little bit of tension on this. You can kind of feel it. It takes no pressure at all. I mean, look, it's nothing. So nothing there at all, right? Now, which means you can easily over tighten it. So what I do is generally just try and push on the cam belt. Feel you want a little bit of play in it, a little bit of slack, right, but not loads. Right, so generally tighten it up so it's all gonna, and you know, stretch itself out, then back it down. Alright, just find that little sweet bouncy spot. And then lock her up. And just nip it up for now, because you might well need to be doing adjustments. Now, general rule of thumb for tension on cam belts is you've got to be able to twist it at least a quarter to halfway, and because these are such short belts, I would say more a quarter. So if you're kind of doing this, right, that might just need a little tweak after it's been turned over. But what we've got to do is we've got to turn it over a few times, and then get it timed back up again and make sure the timing marks are all still in the same place. It also helps the belt work its way on, and seated nicely and running true, which might in turn slacken it off a little bit, so you then want to recheck the tension. So we're going to do that quickly. Both belts are the same. This one's tight as well. So what we're going to do is just knock it round. nothing is locking up, feels nice and smooth. So we're going to bring the TDC mark back round, and we're coming up to our other markings, so we'll just line that back up, and then we want to just check our markings again. That one's good, that one's good, that one's good, and that one is good. Check our tensions again. So that's, I'm going to give that another little tweak, same with that one. Alright, so what we just want to do, get hold of the tensioner before we do it. And undo it. Just tighten it a little bit more. And do it back up. Alright. Same with this one. Grab hold of the tensioner. Remember, it goes clockwise. So just loosen that off a little bit. Just want to knock that off a tiny little bit. There is actually a torque setting for them, but they're lock washers. I would always recommend torquing them and things like that, but I'm not going to myself. Now it's just a case of putting the covers back on, so we'll do that quickly. Right, I've got to keep this short and sweet. I've got 9% left on my battery, and this is the third take of this, so I'm running out of time. All that's left to do now is I'm going to do it off camera, but I'm going to stick some oil in it, put spark plugs back in. Don't need to show that. If you want to know how to get to them, you get to that front one there, just under the radiator. You can just about get to it. So yeah, I'm going to do that quickly before I wrap up tonight. I can't start it yet because I'm still waiting for the seal to come in. So once that's in, I'll get it in the fuel tank, and then we'll be popping that on and starting. It will be in this video. It'll be in a minute for you, probably a couple of days for me or so. The Cambelts did need replacing. They are pretty well worn. They are original belts. So so yeah, on with that next segment of where we just get us started and running, and then we're all good. So thank God my camera lasted. Right, so it's daylight now, so I can start the bike up without any of my neighbours getting pissed off or anything like that, hopefully. It's done as far as the cam belt is concerned, which is, this is what this video is all about. I've still got to put a couple of things back together. I've still got a speed sensor hanging out here. I need to reroute it properly. Just plugged it in to make sure it worked. As you can see, all tanks back on, everything like that. The fuel pump seal was broken. I can't remember if I mentioned it in the video before. By the time I post it on YouTube, I'll know or not, because I do watch my videos once I've edited them and put them together. But I decided, I did film putting the fuel pump out and doing the seal, but it just makes the video too long. So basically what I found is this was split, so had to get a new fuel pump seal in. This is the old speed sensor. This basically just got cooked because the brake got binding on. So that's all working now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it up on a little stand, and then I'll start her up for you. Right guys, so there we have it. She all runs, she's sweet, she's lovely. So that's the end of the video. I've got to keep this short and sweet because I know the video is going to have dragged on by now. So next video, I'm going to do a video on this, just doing the suspension. Just a sort of like how-to on these forks, so watch out for that. And that's that. So catch you on the next one. Like and subscribe if you like what you're seeing, and don't if you don't. And thank you very much anyway if you made it this far. Cheers, I'll see you later.